Welcome in to this Tuesday edition Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham and McCready, Clark Ford Studio here with you today. We will discuss some of what Lane Kiffin said yesterday to the media. We'll talk some NFL as week one of the season closed last night. Jets walking off the Bills in overtime, but not really necessarily the story of the day at all. Aaron Rodgers, Achilles injury most likely and out for the season. And then former Ole Miss shortstop Zach Cozart joining us. Mentioned it last week on Tuesday. The M Club Hall of Fame inductees, they will appear on the podcast in the next few weeks. Zach Cozart kicking us off today. So we'll have that interview for you in the stream and in podcast form as well today as we get started. Podcast brought to you by Twisted Tea. And, of course, the Oxford Exxon every single day. Let them take care of your tailgating needs this weekend. They got specials on a couple slabs of ribs. They got specials on pulled pork, side items, vegetables, beans, desserts. Tons of options there, including the beer cave. Been going the last month or so. 34 degrees of goodness. Lots of alcohol options there at Blue Sky. So check them out when you're coming into town. Stop in, stock up on your alcoholic beverages for the weekend. And again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are Clark Ford's in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900. Call that number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what Ford product you're looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours, right to the bottom line. No hassle, no haggle. You get your quote. The rest will be up to you. You can shop that quote around. You can do what I've done, what I recommend that you do. And that is hop into a Clark Ford today, 662-257-1900. Guest join on the Campbell Clinic hotline. The Campbell Clinic is in Oxford now, 2608 South Lamar Boulevard, Suite 102, just across the street from the cottages at Hooper Hollow. Campbell Clinic provides full-service orthopedic care, everything from sports medicine to foot and ankle surgery to spine and total joint care to pediatric orthopedics and much more. Go to Campbell Clinic CampbellClinicOxford.com to book an appointment online or call 901-759-3111. Walk-ins always welcome at the Campbell Clinic Monday through Friday, 7:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. And by the way, I forgot to mention this yesterday, the Dead Soxy, they sponsor our MPW Digital Postgame Show. They've announced a new collaboration with Ole Miss tight end Michael Trigg. It's now live on the site. That's deadsoxy.com.
There is another Rotary Rebels podcast up this morning. Eli Acker, the guest, talked to him yesterday. So we talked a bit of outdoors, some football, discussed maybe what was said at halftime and different times over the Tulane win. Our Ole Miss went over Tulane on Saturday as well. So that up in MPW Digital this morning. Also, Kiffin yesterday, I guess we'll start there and we'll go to some NFL, we'll talk to Zach. He's always honest. I mean, that's nothing you're ever going to say about Lane Kiffin is he's necessarily hiding a ton of comments or answers. He might not say much, but what he says, he typically means. He was in a pretty decent mood yesterday, and he was very obvious with the obvious concerns, for lack of a better word, the run game, the things that seem to perplex him, the two coming out of that game being why everything bogged down with Trey Harris leaving and the one player making that much of a difference, and then two, something that he says he hasn't had even at other stops as well, their lack of ability to run the football. He did not get into answers because A, you're not going to do that in the press conference, and B, he might not know them. But nonetheless, I thought that was a really upfront, almost kind of, we're here and it's a process thing that you don't always get from coaches. They almost kind of want to hide from some of that sometimes, go, hey, we're really just working and it's whatever. And hey, no, I'm highly concerned. I'm worried. It's a problem. There was something to that in a positive way for Lane yesterday.
Well, their passing game won't work if the running game doesn't
Correct.
keep the passing game honest.
Which he talked about, and which was, to me, the most interesting part of the press conference is going, hey, there's some people that just go throw that thing around when the run game doesn't work. But if
that'll beat Georgia Tech. That'll beat Georgia Tech. It'll beat Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Hell, it might beat Arkansas. It might beat Auburn.
Might beat State. But
you're not beating the big boys like that. You're not going to Tuscaloosa throwing it 65 times and winning the game. You're not, realistically, especially if Harris is out, and I suspect he is.
Seems so.
You're not winning that way. You're not lining up against that LSU team and say, hey, Mason Smith, hey, Harold Perkins, we're throwing it. Don't worry about run. Let them peel their ears back. You're not winning that game. He knows that. So, yeah,
So it negatively affects the RPO. Get your quarterback hit more.
Well, sure, because if it's a run-pass option and they're not worrying about the run, or it's just the quarterback running, well, they tee off on the quarterback. No, you don't want your quarterback hit that much. You don't. So It's a problem. No, to his credit, I've always given him credit for this. I mean, there's a small modicum of coach speak that comes from him. Very, very little.
To the point that it's weird, and we point it out when it gets any more than that. Because you're like, hold on a minute, what are you doing?
Mercer's we're gonna have our hands full. Like, no, you're not.
Yeah.
Why are you saying that? Who are you, Shane Beamer? What are you doing? Stop. I mean, he just doesn't do that very often. And that was just being respectful, but it came across as coach speak.
It did.
Yeah.
Hardman said he thought Harris was listed number one on the depth chart this week. Don't focus on that. I will be blown away if Trey Harris plays this week.
I know we do the depth chart jokey joke,
but
if you're paying attention to the depth chart that Ole Miss releases at this point, no, they forgot to update it.
Yeah, based on what little I know, that would blow me away.
And they're not going to update it and therefore give away information to media or the opposing coaches or whatnot. They're going to at least make them prepare for Trey Harris. So, no. Moving forward for the rest of this season, that depth chart is meaningless. Now, it was already meaningless, but now it's truly meaningless. Forget it.
It's more meaningless, if that is.
And I know everybody wants depth charts. I know it. For whatever reason.
I get it. Yeah,
for whatever reason, they're like a little bit of a drug hit for people, but you've had your last taste of the drug.
You know, we make this joke all the time about how he doesn't necessarily like us and he's whatever and whatever. And I think it's what he liked from his team because of several things here. One, he finally admitted that he also hates looking back on the previous game constantly on Monday because he's already moved on and he's annoyed. He brought up that there's a chance of moving this Monday thing to Sunday. He spun it as of the media should love that because they get everything sooner. He didn't think about the fact that that's a Sunday night process now, but nonetheless. But the more interesting part of that to me was he gets tired of talking about it on Monday. Of hey, can we just get it over?
I don't understand our beat. I don't understand our beat. We do this every week, and I don't understand it.
The backwards look.
It's 48 hours later, and we're talking about Tulane. Why? Now we did some other stuff because the interesting questions and answers came from. Like even I asked him about, hey, you know, this is a team you beat by 6 touchdowns last year, and you got Alabama in a week. Are you at all worried about an emotional sandwich here? He was like, you know, in the past you would, but now half the roster wasn't here, so no, not really.
Yeah, he made the comment basically the entire starting defense is new, so whatever.
Yeah, so it's no, fine. And they're different. Georgia Tech's a different team, different coach, different quarterback, different everything. So no, that game doesn't really have any. He made that point, something I've kind of noticed last year doesn't really matter anymore. The whole, are y'all going to get revenge for last year? No, I mean, no one was here. It's a totally different thing.
But I think that the two things to spin forward from that game, and the reason why I think Lane was in a pretty good mood was that he again emphasized he liked what he saw on Saturday for the most part. From a resilience standpoint, the comeback standpoint, the chemistry that he had hoped was true, but you don't know until you get proof of concept there inside a game that is actually true or not. There was just several things where I went, okay, he's all right. He didn't hate that on Saturday in a lot of different ways. I think he thinks Tulane's a little better than most people thinks they are, or at least hopes they are.
Maybe both.
Yeah,
he has a lot of respect. I don't know anybody in coaching that doesn't respect Willie Fritz. Literally, not one person. I've never met anyone in coaching who doesn't talk positively about Willie Fritz. So, you know, maybe that's kind of what he's referring to. He just has a lot of respect for the way they played. They played with a lot of synergy. They played really hard. They learned a lot, you know. You can, as we hypocritically start looking back.
It's okay.
You can take a lot of different things. Several things can be true at once. I know that's not the way that we operate in the media anymore, but several things can be true at once. That game could have been, hey, they kind of dodged a bullet. Hey, they learned something. Hey, they grew together. Hey, that could have been really scary if they get the first down there at the 20. Who knows where it goes, right? Hypotheticals. But at the end of the day, they made the plays and they won the game and they got out of there. And that was a tougher environment than maybe some people thought it was going to be. Tulane's a good program. Fritz has done a really good job. That's a well-coached team. It was obvious on TV they were a well-coached team. And then also acknowledging, hey, we got challenges coming up that if we don't fix some things. If you thought New Orleans was inhospitable, wait till you get to Tuscaloosa. And you can go, well, Bama's down. Okay, well, Bama's going to be pissed. You know, Bama doesn't have multiple losses in many seasons. Now,
the question is if they're good enough for it to matter.
And I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that's the...
who knows?
Again, it's kind of like the whole nobody's necessarily scared of them the way they used to be. Well, them being pissed, okay.
Right.
I mean, like, if you don't have quarterback play, it doesn't really matter.
And if Ole Miss can't run the ball in Tuscaloosa, none of it will matter.
And if they don't have people to catch it.
Because you won't score enough points.
It was said in the stream, and I'm kind of there, and I know we're a week away, and we're still going to spend every moment from post-game show through next week talking about Alabama after they beat Georgia Tech, but you either kind of have Franklin in pre-scoring or you don't. It just doesn't feel like enough.
Yeah, and are they healthy? Are they completely healthy? I mean, yeah. Are they dialed into the offense? I know pre-scoring is. Franklin hasn't been there. So Franklin's just going to step in and play and be 100% ready to go on the same page with everybody. Just boom. I mean, I'm a little cynical of that. Pre-scoring hadn't played all year. Not going to be any rust at all. None. Just going to pop right in. That's not usually how it works, Joe Burrow says hello.
And it's why I think Franklin is the interesting one this week is can they get him any reps at all? Because he was cutting last week. Or is he close? Is he here? Is he ready? What does that look like?
Can he play some?
Yeah, just enough to get a little continuity.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Can they pass? Can they protect better than they did a week ago? Those are, I mean, we talked about this yesterday. You can take the SEC as a whole, and with the exception of Georgia's defense, everything else is a giant question mark, and that includes Ole Miss. That I learned in a couple of emails pisses some people off, but it does. There's a lot of question marks about Ole Miss. There's more questions than there are answers about Ole Miss right now. And most of the league. Frankly, with the exception of Georgia's defense. No questions there. They're really, really good.
Yeah, sure. That might be it, though.
Yeah, I mean, I got questions about everybody else. Bama, LSU, Ole Miss.
And then definitely
Texas A&M. Tennessee, Florida, Arkansas. The list goes on. Where you're like, what is that going to be? What does that look like? What if you don't have Trey Harris till Auburn? What does that look like? Can you win a game without Trey Harris? Because that offense has been really damn good with Trey Harris on the field. And not so good without him on the field.
No, I get it was Mercer in one possession, but Lane pointed out they've scored a touchdown every drive Trey Harris has been on the field.
Yeah. I mean, he's got 5 touchdowns in 2 games. It's 2.5 touchdowns a game.
It is.
And he only played 1 quarter of the – and he played a whole quarter.
He played 3 plays.
I mean, He
played 3 plays.
So in 1 game and 1 possession of another game, he's got 5 touchdowns. And in the rest of that time, they don't have 5 touchdowns. One of the touchdowns was scored by Jared Ivey.
Oh.
Got a couple of field goals and a Quinshon Judkins touchdown.
My favorite thing yesterday was actually Lane. The one time he went into coach speak is when he was asked about Georgia Tech. He was very, very, very nice because he likes Brent Key a lot.
Yeah. The answer was such a giveaway. Well, I mean, they got a new quarterback.
I think the quarterback's playing well. I think they run a good offense that presents some challenges. They look better on defense, too. So they really do look like they're playing better than they were a year ago.
Yeah, okay. Again.
There was nothing about that when said, oh, my God, I'm scared to death on Saturday.
I mean, the drama Saturdays does Ole Miss cover. If you need drama.
And who plays.
And who plays.
Yeah. The first quarter is the interesting thing on who's actually out there.
Yeah. I mean, my column's going to be, we're about to find out. I can just tell you that now. We're
Bama, LSU, Arkansas. 3 in a row.
The clock starts now. Preseason's over. Clock starts now. Insert score. I don't plan to write about Georgia Tech much.
No, it would not take. To get a rewrite, it would take a very close game late.
And if it's what I think it will be, which is like 37-10 or something, and on Monday there's 17 questions about the Georgia Tech game.
Lane actually might.
Chase, I might just stand up and leave. I might just depart. If you don't have something nice to say about somebody, don't say anything at all. I might just take my mother's advice.
He was, I think, playfully picking on people yesterday, asking questions they already knew answers to.
Of course.
I think he was playing, actually, but
Lane, I've heard you might be a human being. Can you? It was just stuff.
But it felt like he was actually doing rapport for some reason yesterday than usual. You know what I mean? Because typically he wouldn't even take the time to do that.
Yeah, it was a little bit of, why are we? You could tell he was like, why are we still doing this? We're doing this on Monday afternoon because we've always done it on Monday afternoon. That's why. I don't have a problem with Sunday. I'd rather it not be Sunday night because I don't want to give up my Sunday night.
Well, Houston did 3 on Sunday. That sucked too. Literally the last 5 minutes of the 12 o'clock games. It's 3 o'clock.
I remember.
It's like
vividly
3:45 maybe.
Like I don't want to get on a Zoom at 7:30 on a Sunday night. I don't want to light the grill. Being honest.
Yeah. It's fine. I get it.
Because here's what I don't want to do.
Yeah.
As we just talk, the whole inside baseball thing. If we're going to do the Sunday night, I don't want to have to come up there Monday at all. I don't want to go up.
Yeah, you don't want to go back for players.
I don't want to go back for players on Monday. Just to hell with it.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. Because even when Houston did it, it was Sunday and Monday.
Yeah, that was crazy.
It didn't actually take a day away. It was
was crazy.
It was in addition.
And people would take the Sunday thing, which was really meant just to, hey, get an update on an injury or whatever, and turn it into a 30-minute press conference.
Now, here's the problem with that from Lane. He doesn't give injury updates. So what are you asking on Sunday? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because you're not getting a lot of minutia, quick turnaround stuff.
And so I suspect that a lot of the Sunday thing would be people asking about the day before.
Yeah.
Which, again, I guess I could just take my computer out to the grill.
I was about to say, why not?
It's the expectation that you write it immediately.
Notes. Message board post. Take advantage of the non-traditional format.
You could do your quick hits. Just throw them up.
There you go. I actually did them yesterday, and I hit refresh instead of post, and then went the hell with it. I lost the entire thing because I wrote it in the content item.
Yeah.
And I went down. I thought to hit sticky and then hit post, and I don't know. I hit something else, and typically our message board is good about if you hit back, it brings everything back and kind of saves it. Completely blank.
Oh.
And went, okay, awesome. That was fantastic.
So you just said to hell with it.
Yeah. And then, I mean, the news value-wise, he was not overly, I mean, it was an interesting press conference, but it was not newsworthy at the same time.
I did what he said, what he meant.
You did. It's up.
It's up. Brought to you by myperfectfranchise.net. So it's up.
It's a really bad week of college football across the country. So if you're going to have a day where you spend it in Oxford and not worry about the other games, or you do a big honeydew list, it might be the week for that because it's pretty light. I mean, all Deion jokes aside, both shows going to Colorado State, Colorado.
Yeah.
It shows you there ain't much going on. I mean, Florida, Tennessee is like one of the 4 most interesting games of the day.
To me, the most interesting game of the day is LSU at Mississippi State.
Might be.
I mean, genuinely curious.
State gets its exam. Okay, what are you? You're doing this crap for 2 weeks.
Oh no, yeah.
Are you good? Are you bad? Are you average? What are you?
Here's your test. You've got 4 hours. Good luck. Yeah, it's exam time. Interested in that one. Let's see. I'm kind of interested in Florida, Tennessee, except I don't really think either one's all that good.
Yeah, we're helmet interested. It's not.
Yeah, it's a uniform game. I hadn't even really looked around the rest of the country. I'm not
top
even
25 games. Real quick. Where is the top 25? Yeah, bad content. Whatever. I'll get there in a second. Let's see. ESPN used to put top 25 as an option on the conferences, and it's gone.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know why. Miami plays Bethune-Cookman. Florida State, Boston College. Penn State, Illinois.
Yuck.
Mississippi State, LSU.
Okay.
Kansas State, Missouri.
Yuck.
I mean, I'll turn it on because I'm curious, but that's about it. Utah, Weber State. Notre Dame, Central Michigan.
Why?
Georgia, South Carolina. Alabama at South Florida.
Nope.
Oregon State hosting San Diego State.
Mm-mm.
Oklahoma at Tulsa. North Carolina hosting Minnesota. That literally might be the top 3 or 4 game of the day.
It's quasi-interesting.
Duke hosting Northwestern. Iowa hosting Western Michigan. Ohio State hosting Western Kentucky. Washington State hosting Northern Colorado. UCLA hosting North Carolina Central.
Central.
Yeah, Central.
Okay.
Tennessee at Florida. Ole Miss, Georgia Tech. Texas, Wyoming. Oregon, Hawaii. Colorado, Colorado State. Those are your top 25 matchups this week. Gross.
Seeing what time the Cubs play Saturday. Because that might be what the computer's on in the press box. Yeah, Cubs play. Nope. No, yeah, 7:10 on Saturday night.
Ole Miss and Alabama slated for 2:30 next week, by the way, in Tuscaloosa. The CBS game of the week. The TV schedule next week, Auburn at Texas A&M's, an 11 o'clock ESPN game. Kentucky at Vanderbilt, 11 o'clock SEC Network. Ole Miss, Alabama, CBS 2:30. UTSA, Tennessee, SEC Network at 3. Arkansas at LSU gets the 6 o'clock ESPN night game. Charlotte and Florida is the one they just go hide wherever they can hide. I'm hanging up. There you go. That was actually not somebody who should know. So it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah, I was ready to get annoyed, and then went, okay, that would no way anybody can know that. Arkansas at LSU, Charlotte at Florida, 6 o'clock ESPN Plus on that one. UAB Georgia, 6:30 ESPN 2, just because the Bulldogs are playing. Memphis at Missouri is ESPNU at 6:30, and then Mississippi State, South Carolina, 6:30 on SEC Network. So that is your rundown there for next week. So Ole Miss, Alabama in Tuscaloosa, 2:30 on CBS. Guess LSU, Ole Miss, probably night game, most likely.
Probably.
It takes Auburn and whoever they're playing to be the 2:30 game. Georgia, I think. Is Auburn, Georgia next week?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm assuming that's the 2:30 game. So if so, I would
Who does
think
Auburn play this week? Nobody?
is it Samford?
So Auburn to be undefeated. So, yeah, they'll take
Who do they play next week? Oh, I just read it. Who do they play?
A&M.
Oh, A&M. So
I don't.
do you go ahead and put that in, or do you 6-day wait on that?
That feels like a 6-day.
Because if Ole Miss beats Alabama, CBS going, hold on a minute, I'm going to turn around and take the Rebels again.
All right. You
know what I mean?
Yes, let's do the little exercise here.
Okay. Well, before you do that, I'm going to read some bills.
Okay.
Are you ready to elevate your college football game day experience? Check out Twisted Tea, your go-to game day beverage for college football fans. Twisted Tea is unlike any hard beverage you've had before. It's made with real brewed tea. It packs a flavorful punch with 5% alcohol and no carbonation, delivering the perfect balance of taste and refreshment that goes down smooth for every game day occasion. No need to settle for the usual. Twisted Tea turns up any occasion, especially when you're cheering for your favorite team, whether you're tailgating at the stadium, watching in a bar, hosting friends at home. Twisted Tea is there to elevate your game day experience. It perfectly complements your love for college football and your passion for creating unforgettable moments. Let's toast to unforgettable game day experiences. Twisted Tea, the drink that fuels fun and celebrates your love for college football. Keep it twisted.
Davey Ferris of Hilco Insurance has partnered with the Grove Collective. He's donating 20% of all commissions, 10% of all renewals on both personal and commercial insurance policies. Davey can service customers in all 50 states. He's dedicated to making sure Ole Miss athletics succeeds in this era of college sports. Contact Davey at 214-715-7247 or dferris at hillcoinsurance.com. Are you retiring soon? How long should you wait to take Social Security? Are you already retired? Should you consider Roth conversions? These are just some of the questions that can only be answered with a personalized retirement income plan. Andrew Seago with Seago Wealth Management specializes in helping folks just like you come up with their retirement game plan. You can meet him at his office in Collierville. You can Zoom from anywhere. Schedule a free discovery meeting and see what he can do for you. It's rebelsretire.com. We're brought to you by Comer Heating and Air, Southern Air Conditioning and Heating. Different names, same great people, products, and services. If you live in Oxford, Batesville, Tupelo, or the surrounding area, call Comer 662-801-1777. If you live in Hernando, Memphis, that area, call Southern 662-429-4429. A-Stock is a Nashville-based online retail company with the mission to provide customers the power to name their price. All items start at just $1. That's right. Every item starts at just $1, no matter what the retail value may be. So shop now at astock.bid. That's ASTOCK.BID, or download their app. Name your price on thousands of items from big-name retailers. Again, astock.bid. College Corner's in Oxford now. If you're coming in this weekend, stop by the College Corner right off of Sisk Avenue at the Oxford Commons. More than 4,000 square feet of the best Rebel gear, plenty of parking available. Their staff will have you in and out, ready for the Grove in no time. It's collegecornerstore.com. Also 2 locations in the Jackson area. Game Changer patches are the only 2-patch system available in the market to stop hangovers before they start. You got the warm-up patch, you got the overtime patch. The all-natural ingredients will keep you in the game, ready for your next play. Go to GameChangerPatch.com, promo code RebelGrove20 at checkout for 20% off your purchase. And we're brought to you by Pinnacle home to the Pinnacle 401k advisory services team. Get in touch with them. They'll conduct a complimentary, no-obligation benchmarking and analysis of your current 401k plan. It's mypinwealth.com, MYPINN wealth.com.
Podcast is brought to you by G&M Pharmacy, 662-236-2222. They deliver locally in the Oxford area, and they offer medicine. For your prescriptions the same day each month and take care of you. One trip to the pharmacy, one delivery. You have everything you need when you need it with G&M. Also, to transfer your medications, you make one phone call, they take care of the rest. So whether it be Tyson Drugs in Holly Springs or G&M in Oxford, that's 662-236-2222.
So if you look at the weekend of September 30th, that's what we're talking about here. You got Alabama at Mississippi State. If I'm the network people, I will get to see what Mississippi State does against LSU.
So if they were, but it's at State?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've got Arkansas and Texas A&M. Arkansas presumably will beat BYU. I'm gambling about them against LSU. If they were to beat LSU, well, suddenly they're super attractive. If they lose to LSU, they're just blah. A&M's already lost once. A&M plays
Auburn,
ULM, and Auburn. So they'll probably be 3-1.
I'm 6-day advancing here.
I think I am too. So I've got Auburn, Georgia, which has a chance of being a yuck game. I got Florida at Kentucky. I guess if Florida beat Tennessee at home, I could convince myself to do that. Kentucky will be undefeated that day because they play Akron and Vanderbilt.
Sure.
Well, if you're trying to go, hey, we hadn't been to Lexington in a while. Let's go to Lexington and talk about horse races and bourbon.
Sure,
you could do that.
Yeah, but Florida has to beat Tennessee.
You got LSU and Ole Miss, so they'll get a chance to see LSU in Starkville.
And Ole Miss, Alabama.
The concern with LSU, Ole Miss would be this. All right, so we just showed Ole Miss. They lost to Alabama, and now we're going to show them against LSU. And what if LSU loses to Arkansas?
Yeah.
And if I'm them, I'm like, I don't know that I want that. And so after that, it's Missouri, Vanderbilt. That's out. South Carolina at Tennessee. South Carolina's going to lose to Georgia, and they might lose to Mississippi State. Tennessee's there. Here's the problem in the league this year. If the league's not any good, CBS is going to have some bad games. My guess on that is that it's either Ole Miss, LSU, Kentucky against whoever we said, Florida
or A&M Arkansas. I'm 6-day in it. I can't make that call 2 weeks out. There's too many games that next week that can completely screw my window up.
Yeah, I'd like to see more, but they can only do that twice. They can only do 2 6 days. Or you can just do that deal where you go, hey, it's at Jordan-Hare, Georgia, Auburn next on CBS.
You can.
And that's just the old thing that they always did.
Because worst case scenario, it's only still just a one-loss Auburn team.
Yeah, and it's the South's oldest rivalry.
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Number 1, Hugh Freeze.
And then just grit your teeth and go, God, please. From a TV network standpoint, don't let Ole Miss beat Alabama, because then I screwed up.
Ginger says Kentucky struggled against Eastern Kentucky. They did. Here, and again, that's my point, which is there is no sure thing here. Which game's going to be entertaining? typically LSU Ole Miss is entertaining.
Yeah.
Typically Arkansas, Texas A&M, and Jerry World is entertaining. It's typically a close game.
It is.
And you could do the Kentucky thing. You could play the Kentucky thing and go, hey.
And you're probably getting a competitive game, even though it's almost like a first-round NCAA tournament competitive game. It's not pretty, but it's close.
And CBS can't go do 8 Alabama games in a year. So they've got to play those out. And you know they're going to want to get Alabama LSU and Alabama Auburn. And
yeah.
But look, the league, if the league is what I kind of think the league is, CBS, they're going to have to go to Chili's a few times.
In their final year of the deal.
Yeah.
Have to.
Yeah. You don't get to go
the
to
parting gift is kind of rough this time.
No Prime Steakhouse for you tonight. Nope. We're going to Applebee's.
Oh, God.
I mean,
I know.
There's
right.
no sure thing there. I mean, I can paint a scenario where LSU Ole Miss is super sexy. I can also paint a scenario where it's kind of blah.
No doubt.
I can paint a scenario where Arkansas A&M is super interesting, and I can paint a scenario where that sucks.
Yeah.
They're going to do Auburn, Georgia. It's the safest one.
It is.
Because Auburn's not losing to Samford. Now, they could get smoked by A&M.
And they can just put Ole Miss LSU at 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
Best case scenario if everything went.
They could put the Jerry World game at 11. They've done that before.
It's fine.
Playing right out of game day. Into that at 11.
Again, they like that slot.
Yeah. It's a good spot. It's a good game. It's typically an entertaining game. It's going to have a good atmosphere because both fan bases show up for it. At worst, Arkansas will be 3-1. Probably A&M will be 3-1. You could put that at 11 a.m. It's a good safe spot right out of game day.
Yeah. Jerry World, AT&T Stadium, all that stuff.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's fine. We'll get to Zach in the next segment, just the way timing's worked out. Talk a little NFL. I really excited for the NFL season. Can mostly watch whichever teams are out there. It's just fun. It's, we talk about the king and all that stuff. After week 1 and last night putting that to 2, it's not even necessarily about liking a player, not liking a player. The few injuries over the week just put a sour taste for me. I mean, you've been waiting on this Rodgers thing for so long to see how they compete there in that AFC East against the Dolphins and the Bills and the whole deal. He goes out after 4 plays. It's an Achilles injury, even though they haven't officially announced that. Zach Wilson's the quarterback. Now they won the game, and they have one hell of a defense. One hell of a defense.
Yeah.
But it is what it is. Dobbins at Baltimore out for the year. He's in a contract year and has now lost in week 1. The Ravens are interesting in there in the North. I think the Browns left tackles out for the season. I think he tore something on Sunday. It just, I don't know. I kind of got done. And I know there's injuries and it's always this case, but just something about the exact people hurt and different things kind of this morning. I went, God, that kind of sucks. Like I kind of went down a couple decibels, if you will, in my NFL fandom.
I was the same way. I finished what he said, what he meant by like 6:30 and lit the grill.
Mm-hmm.
I was excited about Monday Night Football for the first time in a long time.
Jets.
Bills, Jets, and New York, September 11th, all the
whole
stuff.
deal.
And they did the pregame and Aaron Rodgers running out with the flag, and I was in. And they stopped him on the first drive and got the ball back, and the announcer, I can't remember who the announcer was, I don't remember, said, "Here comes number 8." And I was like, sign me up. And then 3 plays later, he's done for the year. And I didn't finish the first quarter.
Oh, did you not?
Mm-mm. I ended up flipping to Cubs Rockies. I was going to watch Cubs Rockies on my phone and watch Monday Night Football. And I was like, this is depressing. It depressed me. I'm not an Aaron Rodgers guy or whatever. Although, hey, Keith Olbermann, you're a total douche.
He has brain damage. He's just gone.
You're gone, man. I mean, my God.
He was beloved at one time.
Wow.
He was beloved in the sports realm back in the day.
What a evil.
Oh, he's
gone.
He's
person.
off the reservation.
Yeah, nut job.
Well, I didn't see it. So I saw Wilson take his first snap, and I was really confused. I was late kind of getting to it, and I'd been trying to find something to eat, did that, and I flipped the TV on, and Wilson is taking the snap. And I recognize him, and I go, hold on a minute. That's Zach Wilson. And then you're going to, like, Twitter, and you're going, oh, hell.
Yeah.
Like, I watched it, but I was just kind of in a daze then. I was like, okay, fine, whatever.
I thought that he had broken his leg. And
I was praying he had fractured an ankle, honestly, because that's not literally praying, but like that's not a season-ending injury. And then it was like, oh,
the cameras are so good now that you could see the calf ripple. Mm-hmm. It was the Kevin Durant. And you're like, oh, man, that's what that is. And look, he's 40.
That might be it. There's a chance that's it.
3-time NFL MVP. He was so excited about being in New York. New York was so excited about him being there. That's a championship caliber team if he plays anywhere close to MVP level quarterback. Because defensively, they are loaded.
They're fun defensively. Like, I want that defense.
Yeah.
If I can just pick a squad to watch every day, I want that defense.
But I don't know that Zach Wilson can quarterback you to the promised land in the AFC. Just don't know that he can get you there.
I mean, is the overreaction week one that the Dolphins are the pinnacle of the AFC East?
Well, if Tua can stay healthy.
Sure.
It's a big if.
Now, the Chargers find ways to blow games and whatever, but
I'll tell you this now. I feel pretty good about my proclamation that Buffalo's window is closing.
I was with
closing,
you. Yeah,
so.
I did not like – there was several things about them I did not like this season, and last night kind of showed me that. I get it.
If you watched them at the end of last season, it got overshadowed, understandably, because of all the DeMar Hamlin stuff. But in that game where Hamlin had the cardiac arrest,
yeah,
had that not happened, I feel quite safe in saying, by the way, that game played to start out, Cincinnati was going to kick their ass.
Yeah.
And then Cincinnati went to Buffalo in the playoffs and did kick their ass. And Miami, without Tua, damn near did it the week before. Not kicked their ass, but won the game.
Yeah, sure.
Almost won the game. It just falling off. They're falling off. You have a window, and the way the NFL salary structure is, it's super hard to maintain a dynastic team for any length of time. It's why Kansas City is like, hey, kudos, man. I mean, they're really well run. You have to be incredibly well run. You have to have some luck. And your quarterback can't just be really good. He has to be amazing. Mahomes is amazing. Josh Allen's really, really good. There's a difference.
There's a difference. I mean, look at week one. Lions sort of paid off their preseason hype to beat the Chiefs.
Oh, they look solid.
They look really good.
Yeah.
Dan Campbell's a guy you can play for. I mean,
that was a hell of a game.
All in on him.
Yeah, sure.
Are the Rams decent? Seahawks suck. 30-13 in Seattle's an interesting score there. Seahawks might just suck.
Yeah. See,
this feels like the Geno thing's over, and it's.
I cheer for Geno Smith because I catch myself liking him. Okay.
Sure.
But there's a part of me that goes, the first part of last season may have been a little fluky. It's kind of like the hitter in baseball that you see him get a bunch of bloops that land and the numbers look good, but you know what your eyes tell you. Like he's not really hitting the ball that hard.
That's kind of where that was.
Kind of felt that way.
Yeah. NFC South, as soft as it is, Saints over Titans, Bucks over Vikings, 2-0 in the inner games, and then Falcons beat up the Panthers in an NFC South clash.
Out of all of that, what you just told me, I took two things away.
The
Titans, it's over.
Tannehill was god-awful to a level that I can't explain the level of god-awful.
He's not winning.
God-awful.
You can't win with that. And then
because the Saints don't have the Jets' defense. They're pretty good.
Yeah.
But
no, they're not that. And then Minnesota had a lot of fortune last year. And typically
they won every one-score game.
Typically,
regression.
Karma comes back. Regress to the norm.
Yeah. I mean, not karma because they didn't do anything
not
wrong.
Karma, right. But just
yeah, I know what you mean.
But your luck runs out.
The Pythagorean stuff is going to even out over time.
It's the baseball team that you look at them and they've got a winning record in there, but their runs differential's minus 71. It's like, hey, you guys got some L's coming. Yeah. I mean, you know what I mean? It's the team that's like the Cubs, for example. I mean, the Cubs were below 500 with the plus run differential. You're like, odds are we're about to go on a winning streak here soon. And sure enough.
Yeah. Browns suffocate the Bengals. It's 1 week. I'm not giving up on Joe Burrow and the Bengals after 1 week. Browns look good.
Here's the thing about Burrow. It's a calf. Calf injuries are real things. Aaron Rodgers says hi. Burrow looked awful I don't know how much you saw of it.
No.
I watched a good bit of it. He was bad. Their offense was completely out of sync. Now, the weather was terrible, and it was the wind and the rain, and the ball was wet, and he struggled with it. And Deshaun Watson played pretty well. They were pretty solid. They have typically struggled with Cleveland for the last several years, even in winning years. So it's one game, but there were some alarm bells that went off.
Jags look good going to Indianapolis, do what they're supposed to do. I thought they were pretty decent.
They were okay. Indy sucks.
I thought Richardson played better than I thought he was going to play.
Yeah.
I thought he was okay.
He was okay. He's got to be smarter about taking hits.
Sure. Week one.
This is the NFL, bud. You can't take those hits.
49ers just lambasted the Steelers 30-7 in Pittsburgh.
No, they to me, all week, they were the most impressive team because Pittsburgh looked okay.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's not bad.
No.
That was a good win. The Commanders and the Cardinals both don't even need to exist.
Yuck.
Whatever, don't care. Said Ravens knock off Texans, but Dobbins being out, huge blow to them.
Yeah, and the Texans are horrible.
In Baltimore.
Horrible.
They are. Packers 38-20 over the Bears. Jordan Love was okay. 3 touchdowns.
I know people are doing the Matt Corral and stuff. Right now, no NFL team can gamble on Matt Corral.
No. I hope Matt's okay.
I hope he is too. But Matt playing football.
It's not about football.
It's not about football.
Nothing to do with his cut was football related, guys. It was not about his talent. Raiders 17-16 over the Broncos. Sean Payton losing a game in his debut he should have won there in Denver. Eagles 25-20 over the Patriots, but they kind of dominated the game.
It was a good game.
Yeah, it's a good game. We mentioned the Dolphins over the Chargers 36-34. That
was your game of the week.
The Chargers I don't believe in them. Herbert's a hell of a quarterback.
He's that.
But I don't believe in them. They remind me of those Breeze Saints years where they threw up all the numbers but just lost because the defense sucked. And you'd go 8-8 and look up and Breeze threw for 5,200 yards.
And it's just in the NFL, it's the strategy of, hey, let's just outscore everybody every week.
Nope.
It's just not, that doesn't work.
Nope. And then again, hell of a week by the Cowboys. They're not 40 points better than the Giants. It was a weird football game. They're better than the Giants. Don't get me wrong.
It was a bizarrely weird football game.
I'm not going, oh, well, wow. The Giants are going 0-16 and the Cowboys are going 16-0 because of that one effort. It just did not look like that.
No.
I
feel safe in saying neither of those things will happen.
And then I thought, I know they scored 16 points. It wasn't pretty. I think when Kamara gets back, the Saints offense is decent. They're okay. They're just, they have no running back. So it's, and I get running backs don't matter in the NFL and all that stuff, but you need something.
Well, full circle to what Kiffin said. If the other team knows you can't run the ball, it allows them to defend you differently. That's why Kiffin said we could throw it 65 times and have success, but that success will be fleeting.
And the Titans are better on defense than they are offense. It's offense where they just... Tannehill, 16 of 34 for 198, no touchdowns, 3 interceptions. QBR of 10.3 on a 0 to 100 scale. Derek Carr, 23 of 33, 305, 1-1. Did get sacked 4 times.
What was his QBR?
62.
Yeah.
62.6.
Solid.
But from a run game standpoint, the Saints ran the ball 27 times for 69 yards, an average of 2.6 yards per rush. Jamal Williams was the starting running back, 18 carries, 45 yards. Just tough sledding.
Yeah.
Tough sledding. Derrick Henry, 15 for 63, averaging 4.2 in game 1 of the season. Tajay Spears, by the way, back in New Orleans, 3 carries, 27 yards. Good day there. 17-yard long for Mr. Spears. So, anyway.
Was the game fun?
Yeah,
atmosphere and whatnot.
16. There was lots of Titans fans. Saw that most of the time, even just around the weekend. I was talking to a couple people about it. Because of the way the schedule works, it's an easy drive for Nashville people, and you only get it once every 8 years.
Yeah.
So, that was going to be an obvious one, but,
it's a destination game for opposing fans.
Yeah,
it's like Vegas.
And there was some Ole Miss double-ups. Titans fans, Ole Miss fans. So, you could come down if you're Titans and do kind of the double-up there.
Was it a big crowd at the Dome?
It was full. There was tickets the whole time available. But it's people who have them up in case they sell them, but then they're showing up if they don't sell them. So, you look at the sheet and you're going, my God, there's green dots everywhere. But then it's still full and it's whatever, and whatnot. The Saints were only 6-10 in their last 16 home games prior to Sunday. I mean, the Dome has not been a kind, cozy place here in the last few years because the Saints have been pretty average. But they've actually been better on the road than at home.
Yeah, I mean, the only team in the NFL that really has a home field advantage is Seattle because their fans are so loud.
Well, that's what I was amazed. I mean, if the Rams go in and beat you 30-13, what the hell does that say about everything?
It tells you the Rams are just a roller.
Without Cooper Kupp.
I mean, amazing.
Because he doesn't have a hamstring right now, so I don't know what that means. If they don't get him back, they have.
Oh, no.
San Francisco's in that division.
Yes.
There's a problem waiting at some point, and it's
San Francisco's a handful.
They're really good. So
Purdy's okay.
He's fine. No problems there. He's not a bottom half NFL quarterback.
No, Purdy was an evaluation mistake by the entire league. Proof that it's not a science.
Yeah, he's not to this degree, but it reminded me of, it always floats around, the scouting report for Chipper Jones that went around to that one scout who said basically he sucked. And he turned the report in and it was like average,
oh, God.
Doesn't care enough about the game,
God.
all this stuff. And
no.
Hey, John,
not your best eval.
No, didn't the way it worked out. So anyway.
But I mean, hey, look, every NFL team passed on Tom Brady multiple times. Every NFL team passed on Brock Purdy multiple times. It's a quarterback league.
Humans making evaluations.
People make mistakes.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll go to Zach Cozart in 1 second. Before we do, I'll tell you about John Steele Creamery, johnsteelcreamery.com. Football season, time to get your tailgate packages. They feed 10, 20, or 40, depending on how much food you need. You can order there on the website and pick up at Chicory Market to specify the game you're ordering for. You'd like to pick up on Friday or Saturday. They have a limited number of grazing tables and much more. Again, their large specialty trays are outstanding. That's their artisanal cheese trays they make in-house all the time, the charcuterie trays, the sandwich trays, cheesecake dip, desserts, whatever you need. They will take care of you. So you can order online, johnstonhillcreamery.com or 662-419-9201.
Brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you're thinking about a summer vacation for next year, or maybe a holiday trip for this coming winter, get in touch with John. Just give him some parameters, give him a budget. He's going to give you options that you won't find on your own. He'll help you make a special trip, one that creates a lifetime of unique memories. 901-494-3387 or jedwards@regencytravel.net. Oxford's newest Greek restaurant on the square is the perfect place to plan your Christmas party, your fabulous festive party event, your company dinner. Fabulous food, great craft libations as well. OPA can accommodate up to 200 guests. To learn more about catering or booking information, contact Jeannie at 601-421-7147. The same holds for, by the way, for Rafters Music and Food. If you're thinking about a party, that kind of thing, don't forget about Rafters. You can also get in touch with Jeannie there. Again, 601-421-7147. We're brought to you by Service Specialist Staffing and Recruiting Agency. If your company is looking to hire quality, hard-to-find talent, Service Specialists can help. Keep in mind that payment of service is solely contingent on if you decide to hire a candidate that they send. You have nothing to lose, so give Will, Sydney, or Kelsey a call at 662-832-5138 or check out their new and improved website, servicespecialistltd.com. Get the beautiful and healthy smile you deserve at Corinth Dental. Dr. Bubba McQueen, Dr. Jenny Beth Hendrick are devoted to restoring and enhancing the natural beauty of your smile using conservative, state-of-the-art procedures that will result in a beautiful, long-lasting smile. From routine checkups to advanced treatment, including implants and Invisalign, Corinth Dental is here to help you achieve your smile goals. Schedule your appointment today. Take the first step toward a better version of yourself. It's corinthdental.com. I mentioned what he said, what he meant. That's up at rebelgrove.com. It's brought to you by myperfectfranchise.net. Are you a displaced corporate executive wanting to put your career in your own hands? Are you an experienced entrepreneur looking to diversify? Either way, Andy Ludicky can help. He owns multiple franchises and businesses and uses his expertise to help others find their American dream through a very thorough and free consultation process. So call Andy, put your life and your career in your own hands. It's 100% free. You've got nothing to lose. Find your perfect franchise at myperfectfranchise.net or Andy at myperfectfranchise.net or call him at 404-973-9901.
Got time to worry about those Christmas lights and let Heavenly Sunshine help you out with that. While they're beautiful, they can be a lot of work. So they take the hassle out and do the work for you with a full-service installation plan. They install, take down, even store the lights in the off-season using commercial-grade LEDs that are 100% customizable for your home or business. They take care of the lights while you take care of the gifts. Book in the month of September. When you do that, you get a free 30-inch lighted deluxe wreath. That's MPW 10 for the code for that. They've been serving the Mid-South for over 4 decades. Full-service commercial and residential property maintenance, including power washing, soft wash roof cleaning, facade cleaning, and window cleaning. That's heavenlysunshine.com or 662-342-1203. And now we will head over to the hotline and talk to former Ole Miss shortstop, MLB player as well for a long time, Zach Cozart. Zach, really just good to see you again. It's been a little while. I got on the beat in 2006, so I had your last couple years, and then I've watched obviously you progress through professional baseball and all the way through a really brilliant career. And we're going to get through a good bit of that, but I want to start here. Just you get the call, the M Club Hall of Fame, being inducted here in November. What does that mean to you? I mean, a place where you went to college, spent so many years, and now knowing that you're a Hall of Fame member for that place.
Ooh, I mean, it means a lot. Ole Miss. I mean, I grew up in Memphis, which, in my opinion, is Ole Miss country. So, being a huge fan my whole life, growing up, my whole family, and then getting to go there, and being on what I consider the first few teams to kind of catapult the program that Ole Miss is today, and to be able to, be a Hall of Famer, it's awesome. My teammates obviously were a huge part of that. Getting the call from one of my former teammates, Anthony Cups, was cool, and I'm excited. It's. I mean, I haven't necessarily been back to Oxford as much as I want to, but it is almost like a second home to me. I tell everybody when it comes to my time at Ole Miss, besides my family and my son and stuff, I would kind of trade anything to kind of go back for those 3 years. That's how much fun and how to play baseball and everything. So it means a ton. I know Coach B and everybody. I got a lot of people to thank, but yeah, it's pretty cool.
Tell me about that call. Did you know it was coming at all? I mean, had you been keeping up with Anthony at any point? I mean, that call comes in. What happened there?
Well, I was on the golf course, and so shocker for me. But I was like, "Oh, Cubs is calling. It's probably pretty important. We don't talk on the phone that often." Yeah, he got me on there. I'm on the tee box actually. I was like, "Hey, what do you got? What's going on?" And he's like, "Man, I just wanted to call and congratulate you on being inducted into the Hall of Fame, or voted on to be inducted into the Hall of Fame." I'm like, "Oh man." I'm like, "I'm sorry that this has to be such a short convo, but I'm about to tee off." But yeah, it's surreal. I mean, my Ole Miss, like I said, Ole Miss time, my wife was there with me at Ole Miss. There's just so many memories that come flashing back. It seems like, I just turned 38. It seems like forever ago. But yeah, it was, I'm super proud of it. That's for sure.
So do you leave your ringer on when on the golf course? Did your watch buzz? I mean, how do we even know the call came in,
Zach? I got my Garmin, so
okay.
I don't have the ringer on for etiquette purposes, but yeah, I had a little vibration. I'm like, usually it doesn't vibrate too many times because it's like a text or something, but it was Anthony calling. I'm like, oh, this seems important.
What's the handicap at these days?
Yeah, I'm a 2 right now.
Okay. You can say it without dropping your head. That's a good thing.
Well,
okay.
I mean, it's not bad, but I'm kind of I'm in limbo right now where I'm like, I got pretty good pretty quick. And then it's like that last couple points to get down to a scratch golfer. I mean, I'm pretty jealous of those guys on TV. That's for sure.
Yeah, I'm shocked the lead athlete has good hand-eye coordination and can figure out the ball. I'm really blown away by that, Zach.
I can hit the ball, that's for sure, but it is frustrating that I can hit a baseball coming in, moving all over the place, and sometimes that golf ball seems harder to hit.
Tell me a little bit about your recruitment. I mean, when you're coming out of high school, obviously pretty highly recruited, but at what point did Ole Miss come into focus for that, and what all was involved with that?
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I had kind of. My whole family is Ole Miss fans, but my coaching from Little League all the way through high school, one of them was Jay Porter, who's the late Ryan Porter's dad. Mm-hmm. He went to Mississippi State, so he would take our team down to Mississippi State, and I was like, man, this is awesome, like seeing Mississippi State, and then on TV at that time, I believe Khalil Green was the shortstop of Clemson, and I was like, man, this guy's the man. And I love Clemson. I love their unis and everything. So like, I was lucky in a sense that, I got to have to meet with those teams, I guess you should say. I took a visit on to Clemson, and I was really leaning towards Clemson, to be honest with you. But then it kind of, Coach McDonald was that at that time the recruiting coordinator, and he's like, "Dude, I'm not letting you get away. You live less than an hour from us. Like, what do we got to do?" And so at the end of the day, it was more of had nothing to do with like scholarships or anything. It had to do with my dad being able and my family being able to come watch me play more. It would be easier being in Memphis to come watch me play every weekend than me being out in Clemson. So yeah, that's kind of how it went through. And Coach Mack, that guy's a master recruiter, and he doesn't take no for an answer, which I loved. And it turns out it was the best thing for me because obviously Ole Miss was great to me and helped me with my future.
As you mentioned, Ole Miss still building at that point. They host an 04 right around the time that you're committing and you're about to get there, and you guys go on that big run of regional hosts. Where did you sort of see the Ole Miss program? I mean, obviously Mike and Dan are selling a vision there, but when you're coming through high school and going to college, I mean, what was sort of your thought of Ole Miss as a program?
It's like I said, I had kind of come up with some guys. My coaching had went to Mississippi State, and so I was more knowing that Mississippi State was good. And so I loved Ole Miss, but I would go down to the football games. I never went to a baseball game or anything. And then I think getting to meet with Mac and Coach Bianco at the time and their passion, and like I said, neither of them kind of took no for an answer. And then, I didn't know, I wasn't projecting that we were going to be as good as we were and that quick. But after I got on campus and I kind of saw, the Stephen Heads and the Petways of the world, and then we had, really good pitching that year, my freshman year, and it was like, hey, we got a chance. And then it just so happened from a luck standpoint, in my opinion, from a timing perspective, that shortstop was kind of the only spot that they needed. They had everything covered. And then as a freshman coming in, I was like, oh man, I got a chance to make this team and not have to redshirt because of, shortstop being there. So, that's kind of how it was. And like I said, I didn't necessarily project or think we were going to be as good as we were as soon as we were. But I mean, when you got, looking back on it with Stephen Head and Petway and Holloman and Maloney, Cooper, there's almost every position would seem like we were good. So it was not surprising to see how good we were.
Ole Miss has been pretty dominant with shortstops and catchers throughout, and you're one of the leaders from that shortstop position. You're the first freshman to start under Mike during his tenure, and you had mentioned obviously Ryan there going in. I mean, do you recall anything from that competition and coming in, and maybe what you were thinking when you do get the nod? I guess not opening day, but right after that, and kind of held the position the rest of the time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you want to impress your coaching and everything, obviously, but for me personally, I kind of went into it to try to win over the trust of the team. The leaders of the team, the Stephen Heads, the Petways. And I felt like for me personally, if I could prove to them that I can help them win, then it kind of makes Coach Bianco's decision pretty easy. And so I just remember going through fall, and that was kind of a battle between me and Ryan. And I played pretty good. And I just remember hearing some chatter of, the guys in the clubhouse about how, I mean, it seems like, it's kind of a no-brainer who's going to win that spot. And that was more important to me than like necessarily. I knew Coach Bianco at the end of the day, he was the one that's making the call. But, you got to earn your teammates' respect. The guys that are the juniors and seniors kind of, you want them to know that you got their back and everything. So, like I said, I heard some chatter, and then it kind of worked out pretty good. And so, yeah, I mean, trying to earn their respect.
Are you surprised that the blonde hair at shortstop has made its way 2 decades later and still stuck?
I tell you what, it's pretty impressive that it's gone that long. Like you said, I mean, it's so weird how different programs have different positions that do well, and it just seems like shortstop at Ole Miss is just like you go there to play shortstop, you're going to have a very good opportunity to be really good and go on to the next level. It's been kind of crazy to see the consistency of shortstops. I mean, I'm going to throw Matt Tolbert in there. He was the guy before me, and so like I kind of looked at him even when he would come back I think I was a freshman, maybe a sophomore, and he was coming back from his to practice with us and stuff, and I was paying attention to him. I mean, he might not know that, but I was like watching him and seeing how he went through things, and And so, like, yeah, there's just a long line of shortstops, man. It's pretty crazy. I'm happy to be a part of that, and the blonde hair, it is what it is. Hopefully, I probably shouldn't have done it because I'm kind of fading up top. But don't tell the kids coming in that
Yeah.
there's a possibility that when you in about 15 years you might have to go bald. But other than that, no, it was cool, and it's cool to see that tradition keep going.
When I mentioned your college career, what sticks out? I mean, you have one or two memories, or feelings, people, relationships. I mean, what do you take from those 3 years?
Honestly, everything sticks out. I mean, from the how awesome the coaching was for me personally, and I mean, the guys I talk to this day were my teammates. Some of my best friends they were in my wedding, were my teammates at Ole Miss. There's nothing like, and I tell this to anybody that ever asks my opinion on should I go pro or should I go to college, all this stuff. I might go to college. There's nothing in college. Every game is very important, and so you have this sense of urgency consistently. When you get to pro ball, it's couldn't be more opposite, where you have such a long season that you're going to lose, and all that. In college, you're like, hey, especially the caliber that Ole Miss is, hey, we got to get going, step it up. And I missed that when I was in the big leagues. Like, that's just playing baseball. It's fun, and it becomes a business when you get up there, and that amateur part of it at Ole Miss, to where you're just like, you literally don't care at all what happens as long as you get that W, from a personal perspective. So, um, like I said earlier, I would go back to Ole Miss in a second and take those 3 years over all my career in pro ball, whatever, the big leagues, because I just think it's the most fun I ever had playing baseball.
Just kind of curious, it stuck when you mentioned Dan there a few times. I know you were with the Bats in Louisville for a little bit. Did you see him during that time that you guys were carried over some when you were there?
Yeah, I've kept up with Coach Mack. I firmly believe I give him all the credit for how I developed as a shortstop defensively. I mean, he was on me nonstop. I mean, and I think Ole Miss still does this too, even to this day without Coach Mack. But he would chart ground balls every practice. If your errors are being charted, so even in practice, like, don't make mistakes, like, pay attention to detail, all this stuff. And I learned that from Coach Mack. I mean, he stayed on me nonstop in a good way. And yeah, we still talk. I spoke at his a banquet of his kickoff banquet up for Louisville baseball. I went and saw him. Was it 2 years ago when they were in the regional at Texas A&M? So we've kept up a little bit. He was down here in Houston at that little classic they play. I guess the college tournament or whatever. I saw him. So yeah, Coach Mack. I give him. Of the few coaches that I feel like catapulted me for my whole career, Coach McDonald's one of them that is at the top.
The major renovation to Swayze happened a couple years after you left, and then obviously Mike getting over the hump, team winning the national title in 2022. I guess, how much were you keeping up with things at the time, and what does that what did it kind of mean to you when they finally pulled it off? Because I know Mike and Carl and a bunch of those guys had talked about that. It kind of seemed like there was so many fingerprints and so many so closes that didn't quite get there, and then finally to hold the trophy.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty surreal, even as a spectator. I mean, obviously, I'm just a fan now, and so um, it just shows you how cool it is when a team can come together, because they probably shouldn't even have made the tournament, and they did, and it doesn't matter obviously now. And to see them kind of gel as a team, you know what I mean? It was really cool to see. And obviously, Coach B, Coach Laugh was my first base coach my junior year. It's cool to see those guys succeed. Like I said earlier, I feel like 04, 05, 06, 07 kind of got Ole Miss on the map from a national perspective, because we were playing so well, and then um, being so successful, the recruiting. I mean, to me personally, they get the new stadium, they get the new weight room and everything. I mean, if you're a kid on a recruiting visit going to Ole Miss, really any SEC school, but I'm biased to Ole Miss, and you go into recruiting, I mean, how do you not commit, like, right away? I mean, it's pretty unbelievable how awesome the facilities and, obviously the coaching and the winning tradition there, the crowd. And so, yeah, I mean, it's all that came like rushing back. It was cool to see, like I said. I mean, I think all of Ole Miss Nation was pretty excited on that.
Who's the toughest pitcher you faced in college?
I'm gonna go with Hoshaver.
Okay.
My freshman year, he was the big dog at Tennessee. So he was. I was kind of deer in the headlights. I think that was our first Friday night, my freshman year, my first SEC Friday, and it was first him. And I was like, well, this is a little different level here, so I'm going to have to step my game up if I want to play in this league.
Yeah, I was gonna predict Hoshaver or Price is where you're going. I was curious which one.
Yeah, Price. I mean, you're just kind of like
6-1, right?
Both guys are just unreal, and if you have semi success off of them, you're feeling pretty lucky.
What about the pro level? Who was the toughest? What do you got? Or was there like one dude that you just simply couldn't get to and see the same thing?
There was. I don't know my numbers or anything in particular off this guy, but there's one guy that I hated to face, and Justin Masterson, and which is no one would guess that, but it's this dude he played forever in the big leagues, but he was this righty that he just slung these nasty sinkers at like 97 miles an hour. And I don't think he really had any idea where he was throwing the ball. And so like he might hit you, he might dot it on the outside corner. And so it's just a really uncomfortable at bat. And so that's kind of how I look at it. It's not necessarily how good a stuff somebody has. I mean, Kershaw's one of the best I ever faced, but I'm not uncomfortable because he has such good control. He's probably going to get me out, but I'm not uncomfortable. Yeah. The guys were throwing it up at your head and then those are the guys I'm like, I don't really want to face this guy. Actually funny, the other guy is a Dylan Betances. He's a reliever. He was a reliever for the Yankees. And so about the All-Star game in 2017, I actually went into that telling my teammates, I said that I don't care to face anybody. I'll face anybody, but I do not want to face Betances because he's that same wild. And of course, first at bat, that's who I face. And I ended up getting a hit off of him. I think I closed my eyes and just swung. But yeah, there's just those guys that are just like naturally wild are the ones that I always never wanted to face.
A little frustrating to get it done in an All-Star game instead of like something that counted or mattered a little bit, right?
Just close your eyes and swing, and you'll be all right.
Yeah, that makes sense. I get that. What are you doing now? What's going on with you?
Man, I golf. Yeah. I have my son's in school down here in Houston. We travel with my wife, my brother-in-law. He does a lot of like dirt track racing, like World of Outlaws type, like sprint cars. And so we'll drive up there to like the St. Louis area, watch him do that. My son loves to get out there and, hang out in some RVs and stuff up there. That's about it. I got 3 dogs and I'm really kind of like a under the radar, just not a big publicity guy, just kind of do my thing and trying to perfect golf, which is impossible. That's why I love it.
What teammates you talk to the most? Who are you still close with?
My 3 main guys, I'd say. Well, I am in a fantasy football league with almost all my teammates from.
Oh, there you go.
So I got Justin Henry, John Hancock, Overbeck, JoJo Tan, Alex Presley, Alex Kleeman. I'm leaving out some guys that'll probably get ticked off, but yeah. So the guys that are in my wedding: JoJo, Cody Overbeck, Logan Power. Those are like my 3 main guys from Ole Miss that whenever I'm doing like a guys trip or something, those are the 3 we're usually with.
You still trying to find golf courses on the guys trips? Is that the deal? Like you been around golf?
Well, I do, but obviously I'm retired, so it's easier for me to get away. And I'm like, when's our next golf trip? And they're like, dude, we got to work and stuff. So yeah, we went out to Bandon Dunes up in Oregon a few years ago. All that whole crew, basically, that I just said, we went up there, and it was fun.
Which one of the Bandon courses was your favorite?
I like Sheep Ranch. It's the newest one out there. and then there was I can't remember the one, but it's more it's not on the beach. It's in like the woods.
Abandoned trails.
Yeah, trails. So, and I thought that was an awesome course. So yeah, I mean they're all amazing. I mean, the coolest thing about Bannon is you got to go, and it was pouring rain one time, and you're just out there golfing, and you're there for the experience. So you're out there in the pouring rain golfing. The winds are 30 miles an hour, and so we had a blast. But yeah, if anybody's watching and needs a golf trip, that's like the ultimate like Bandon Dunes you got to do.
You've seen all the levels. Obviously, Ole Miss with the latest shortstop success, Jacob Gonzalez taken in the first round this past summer. As he makes his way through, what are the sort of adjustments and things that he probably needs to perfect as he tries to move through the ranks?
You know what? What I feel like I kind of found out going up, I feel like everybody at that level, even in like low A to triple A, they're all talented, in my opinion. I think it's like a mental. You got to get over that. It's mentally pushing yourself because everybody around you is really good, and you're not necessarily the best out there anymore, and so you just have to like keep pushing from a mental perspective. The guy's as talented as anybody. It's like um, I loved watching him play. He's super unassuming, which I love. He just plays the game and he's quiet. And but yeah, I mean, it's the game. Me and my buddies always talk about, and Cody Overbeck and these guys. I mean, these guys that are playing right now, they're way better than I was. Like it's not even close to me. Like I think that they are more polished from hitters, like all this stuff. And Jacob's the same. I think he's a better hitter than I ever was, and I think he's got a really good chance. It's just keep doing what you're doing. You can't. It's such a long year. I mean, this first year that he's up there, I mean, it doesn't even really. I mean, it matters, but you just got to kind of get your feet wet and grind through it, and then work out hard in the off season and get going next year. And he's going to be good. But yeah, I say that to everybody. It's such a grind. It's such a different. I mean, you're going from college where you get everything kind of, especially at Ole Miss, you got all these nice facilities and everything. I don't know where these guys are playing right now, but when I was, low A and stuff, facilities aren't necessarily the best, and you're traveling on buses everywhere, and so it's just find that balance, and they'll be fine. I've seen a few highlights of Elko hitting. He seems like he's hitting just fine. So yeah, I mean it takes a little adjustment, but I think that they're gonna be good. Especially Jacob will be just good.
It just increases in the importance on fitness and nutrition, specialization. I mean, what do you make of the guys potentially being better all around these days?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know if it's. I know from a pitching perspective, it's just more of like maybe year-round pitching, which I don't necessarily agree with. Like from a velocity perspective, but kids, yeah, I think when I was in high school, I didn't lift weights. I didn't lift weights until I got to Ole Miss. I think I weighed 165, and then all of a sudden I lift weights for like 4 or 5 straight months. I get up to 190. I'm like, what the heck's going on? I didn't even know I could grow like this. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that they're coming into college stronger. They're, probably have better people teaching them in high school. I don't know. I mean, it's there's a lot that goes into it. I know it's super competitive, at the perfect game stuff that they do in high school and all this recruiting stuff that goes on. And so, like I said, I mean, these kids are just, I mean, even all the way up to the big leagues. I mean, every kid that comes in that's, a random call up is throwing 100 miles an hour, and the game's hard. It's already hard when they're not doing that. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know what it is, but maybe it's just evolution or whatever. But to me, they seem to be better, and maybe it's because they also have to, with the dead and bats and the way the ball is, like they have to learn how to hit more in college than rely on the bat for all the power and stuff. So that could be it too.
Yeah, well, you're definitely well accomplished, well deserved. We will see you here in early November for the Hall of Fame induction. Appreciate the time. Let's talk again.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Chase.
hold on. Okay, go ahead.
We good now?
Yeah.
All right. Zach Cozart there with us this morning, again, in M Club Hall of Fame inductee for this year. Ceremony November 2nd, coming up Thursday. I think heard of A&M is what week that is. Tickets on sale yesterday for that as well. Find a link for that for you. But anyway, we'll get to those every single week for the next few weeks. Thanks to Zach for his time. Podcast brought to you in part by the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation. Season tickets for men's basketball, women's basketball, they are on sale now. You can find out more on that at OleMissTix.com. Women's basketball tickets, just $50 per season ticket. Then the Ole Miss Athletics Foundation is starting their Pledge Per Win and Pledge Per Touchdown campaigns for football. Give to athletics.com. That's GIVETO, athletics.com to sign up today.
Southern Traditions Farm is a 68-acre, 32-stall upscale equestrian training and boarding facility in Canton, Mississippi. 2 sand rings, a grass ring, miles of wooded trails. So much offered at Southern Traditions, including horseback riding offerings. You can buy your first horse, compete at nationally recognized competitions, and everything in between. Also, it's a great venue for events, corporate outings, that kind of thing. So get in touch with them on Facebook or Instagram at Southern Traditions Farm. Would you like some peace of mind knowing that your roof is taken care of? Whether you need an inspection, a new roof, or a maintenance program, Riverland Roofing has you covered, home or business. As a GAF Master Elite contractor, they can offer warranties that last a lifetime. Licensed and insured, Riverland services Mississippi and its surrounding states. Text or call Riverland today at 662-644-4297. Are you ready for the ultimate college experience? Welcome to College Town, Oxford, your new home away from home. They know you want the best, and that's exactly what they offer. No more long commutes or missing out on campus events at Ole Miss. College Town, Oxford is right next door to the University of Mississippi campus. It offers spacious 2, 3, 4, and 5-bedroom cottages, each with individual leases because they believe in flexibility and simplicity. Their incredible amenities will make you feel like you're living in a resort, whether it's a weekend binge watch session or hosting the best game day parties. You'll do it in comfort and style, cheering on the Rebels with your friends. Don't break up the game. Grab your friends, pick out your favorite floor plan, reserve it today at College Town, Oxford. Text their VIP list today to be the first to know when their leasing for fall 2024 is open. 662-300-3733.
PrimeShrimp.com. Sorry, I was reading 2 different things. Podcast is brought to you by PrimeShrimp.com. 7 different flavors available for you. The signature, the New Orleans style barbecue. A lot of options. Great for lunches, snacks, high protein options there for you throughout the day. And then dinner at night. A lot going on. Kids are busy. Let Prime Shrimp help you. They deliver directly to your door. You throw them in the freezer, then 10 minutes of freezer to plate with Prime Shrimp. We can help you out. You buy 5 pouches or more, use code RG, and you get 25% off. So stock up on your favorites. Try some you haven't tried yet. They've got the full meals in a bag, like the garlic herb butter, the French Quarter Alfredo, and more. So again, that is primeshrimp.com. Use code RG at primeshrimp.com. Again, thanks to Zach for joining us here today. The one thing that we were just kind of talking after the video, and he told the story that the blonde hair thing that so many Ole Miss baseball fans have become accustomed to from a shortstop over the last years. He was the second one. Matt Tolbert was the first. That it almost ended after 2 seasons. He did it in 2006 and was going to stop that next year. Just didn't think it was whatever. And they were doing the autograph session at Tad Smith Coliseum at the time, where they pick a November, December basketball game, and the baseball team's there. And Dan McDonald's kid, Justin, had gone up and down the line. And he was really young now, because I think Justin's graduated from either Ole Miss or State. I forget which one is at which. He has kids at both schools, or a kid at both schools. And he couldn't find Zach because he'd been looking for him with the blonde hair, and he couldn't find him. And that is the impetus for it continuing that third season. And it is now, I guess, almost 2 decades old at this point. So it will be 2 decades old next season. So.
Is it a requirement that the shortstop bleach his hair?
It's a suggestion, kind of like voluntary workouts or suggestions for NFL players in the offseason or college players in the offseason. Yes, it is highly recommended, I guess you would say. Now, if you have a battle, it's a bit of a weird deal, because does everybody do it? Like it's the guy, you know what I mean?
What would you do if you had a redheaded kid win the shortstop job?
I don't know, because let me go through it. Tolbert, Cozart. I mean, they actually had a little bit of battle from time to time, and still had, I guess, like Anderson did it even when he wasn't necessarily the everyday guy, because Blake Navalu was in it. Kevin Mort, Errol did it for his 3 years, and then progressing on. So Servideo, Gray. They've had a really good run of shortstops, which has made it easier, because they've kind of had the dude most seasons.
Yeah.
I mean, they're highly regarded with shortstops and catchers. So, anyway, almost ended before it ever started.
Jacob feels like the type that would have preferred not to have bleached his hair.
I think he had to.
I'm guessing it's no longer bleached.
No, I'm sure he got rid of that as soon as the season was over. He had done a poll on Twitter before the year, and it's like, okay, that's not the way to do it because everybody's going to say yes. Like, come on, like if you're really going to debate whether to do this or not, that's not the answer for this. From a business standpoint, we'll close here. We got practice, got stuff going on. I was shocked by this today. I saw this morning, and I would have thought in 2023, and maybe this is just things I consume and whatnot, I would have guessed that healthier food options would have been on the rise versus snack cakes that were less healthy and things. Like, for whatever reason, I just assumed that more people were at least paying attention to some degree. Now, look, I get with the economy and things, healthy food's more expensive. I understand there are a lot of other factors, but J.M. Schmucker, the jelly company, they announced yesterday they're buying Hostess brands for $5.6 billion. It's supposed to close by the end of January. The deal is this is what's crazy. The deal is worth roughly $2 billion more than Hostess' current market value. $2 billion more. If you think it would behoove Smucker to reconsider throwing that kind of money in a twice bankrupt company, think again. The snack business is booming, up 11% last year, according to Sakana Group. And Smucker's looking to get in on the gains between 2019 and 2022. Hostess revenue skyrocketed 50%. Meanwhile, big food behemoths Hershey and Mondelez International, which owns Oreos and Ritz, grew their overall sales by 30 and 22% respectively. For Smucker, sugary treats like Twinkies, Ho-Hos, and Ding Dongs may be especially lucrative. Indulgent snacks have grown 20% faster than healthy ones over the last 3 years.
Oh.
Is that a pandemic thing? Is that being locked in? Is that, well, I don't know why, but that would nowhere near have been what would have gone through my head had you said predict what the snack and whatever company and business has done over the last 3 to 5 years.
I'd get killed if I said what I really think about this, so I won't. Walk through a grocery store.
Yeah, sure. I get it. Yeah.
And just look at the people. And maybe it's not this way everywhere, but my experience is it's kind of this way everywhere. There's a reason that Europeans make fun of Americans. The pictures that always blow me away are the pictures from like the 50s and 60s of the beaches.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody kind of looks the same. And now it's just amazing. It really is. It's incredible how big we are as a society.
Yeah.
We're huge. But this is where I could go on my media.
Oh, there's lots of
government.
Factors. Yeah, sure. There's lots of things.
There's just so much there.
I kind of was glancing down and went, hold on a minute. They're paying $2 billion more than it's currently worth because they're gambling on that type of continued surge at this point.
Well, again, I mean, like,
just went, whoa.
If you say something common sense about health, you're accused of fat shaming.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm a former fat guy. I get it, but like, if you eat that stuff religiously, you're going to get fat. You can't outrun Hostess Debbie cakes. Can't do it. You can't do it.
I like a sweet treat as much as the next guy, even though I mostly avoid them. I don't know the last time I've had a Twinkie. Like, that feels like something everybody talks about people buying more than people actually buying it. But maybe I'm wrong. Like, even if I were going to grab something off the aisle that was like crap, I don't know that Twinkie would ever be where my mind would go.
But
you know what I mean?
But how often do you grab stuff off the aisle that's crap?
No, very infrequently. And still struggle with it. I mean, weight-wise.
Yeah. I mean, that stuff's never in our house. And I mean, I'm not as fit as I'd like to be.
Sure.
But I mean, I got a sweet tooth as much as the next guy, but like stuff like that, I don't even consider eating it. It has no value at all.
Apparently it's jumping. It's on the rise.
People just throw that stuff in the kids' lunches and stuff still, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird.
Oh, I think that's probably a decent portion of it.
But you know, man, I mean, here's, it's just, it was the thing about, not to get down the pandemic rabbit hole, but like looking back, how do you know that the pandemic thing was kind of weird from the get-go? If everybody were being totally honest about it, the messaging that would have started in March of 2020 is get outside, get some exercise, get some weight off. Now's the time. This isn't
your armor ready.
This isn't fat shaming, but this thing attacks. The bigger you are, the heavier you are, the more you're liable to have trouble. Now's the time to go lose weight. We didn't get that message. No, lock up. It was weird.
Yeah. Well, a lot of places even arresting people for being outside in parks and things. Not a lot of places, some places.
Yeah. So. I mean, it was the whole, that messaging never came out. Hey, if you're overweight, doesn't mean you're a bad person. Doesn't mean you've done anything wrong, but the virus doesn't play politics, right? The virus just attacks. And that didn't happen at all. And to this day, it doesn't happen. Nobody is willing to say, hey, look, we have an obesity epidemic in our country. And no one will talk about it. Instead, if you mention it, you're shamed. Like, no politician running for president today or for governor or senator or anything could make that a key part of his or her survive it. The backlash would be unbelievable, and yet they would be right.
Yeah, you couldn't win on that platform at all. Not even platform, just mention it inside your deal. So, thanks to Zach for his time today, or not really today, but thanks for his time. We did record. We will have a podcast throughout the week. Thursday night, NFL Week 2. We have hand-raised guys. The Vikings at the Eagles will be our game. 7:15 kickoff for that one from an NFL side. So, again, practice today, rebelgrove.com. In the meantime, we'll look at Georgia Tech's quarterback situation later. Haynes King now running things for the Yellow Jackets. And back with another podcast tomorrow. So take care. Talk to you then.